All right, a little hiatus for Christmas, but we're back.
We're back.
Back for another episode. And you had just told me a really cool quote. What was that quote that you said?
The reality of a situation doesn't really matter. The only reality that matters is your reality. And essentially, that's the story that you tell yourself.
Yeah, that hit hard for me because that's been my entire theme of my year is learning to retell the story of my entire life, and then on a micro day-to-day basis relearning to tell the story I'm telling myself about whatever it is that's happening, because the story is everything for humans. It's really crazy, number one, how easy it is to manipulate like your own truth through just telling yourself a new story. So I'm back on drugs. I've started taking morphine again because I wasn't getting any sleep. And because I've had serious bouts of opiate addiction, like over and over again throughout post-injury, pre-injury. I've battled with opiate addiction a few times, and it's a really slippery slope. Like, it's so insidious how it creeps in. But I think that I've reframed it in my head by telling myself a different story, because before I was telling myself a story that this was completely unconscious, but I was telling myself a story that I was weak, that I was taking opiates because I was weak, or I would tell myself the story that I was just taking them because I wanted to, that I could quit every time. Like, it was a very different story, whereas now I'm telling myself the story like, no, you don't have control of this from the outset. Like, you're relinquishing control to these things rather than being like, I've got this. Like, and it changed that little story changes the way that I use them. I've only been using them for a few days, but like, I would have already started abusing them normally by now.
Well, I mean, it's amazing that you're not.
Yeah. We'll keep, to be determined.
Well, I mean, what would be what story would you have to tell yourself to, in the case that if you did fall back into it, what would you have to tell yourself to get out of it?
I just have to have a hard line of like
a boundary.
A boundary of non-abuse. I just have to have a boundary with myself. And I think that boundary is formed in the story by saying, like, you don't have control of this. These will take control of your life. These will, because before I just had this idea about myself. The story I told myself was that I can quit whenever I want to, because I had proved that to myself on multiple occasions.
Right.
But that's not true. Like, I wanted to quit for months before I actually did. Like, it sneaks in there, and it's really insidious with opiates because you become physically dependent on them so quickly, and so you have
fast.
Yeah, you have to basically sign up for withdrawals. But now that I've got, I understand Suboxone and how to use that to taper off and stuff, I think I'm in a safe zone, and I had no choice. So a thing that I was using for a couple weeks to stave off the pain, because I wasn't sleeping. I mean, I was getting to the point where it was multiple nights in a row of less than 3 hours of sleep before I would finally just like pass out for 6 hours. I was in so much pain. Like, it was really, really bad. And I was using gabapentin and Lyrica and that was enough to like get me a few hours of sleep. It wasn't as effective as the morphine has been. And I chose morphine sulfate, or my doctor and I chose morphine sulfate long acting, because it doesn't give you the ups and downs it's not as effective as oxycodone, but it doesn't get you high either. Like, I don't feel any of that euphoric, like, big rush that I love so much.
Dopamine.
So yeah, that really is a big factor as well, the opiate that you choose. But
speaking of dopamine, what's crazy is that with addiction, how a person responds to the initial dopamine rush is essentially what can either make or break somebody who is suffering with addiction. 'Cause everybody responds differently to that initial dopamine hit.
I respond with, this is the best thing ever. I want this forever. Like, how do I keep it going?
Yeah. And some people don't have that response. And that's why they're not, they don't battle with the repercussions of chasing it.
I think I naturally have really low dopamine. That's like a common thing with people who have ADHD.
Yeah.
I have raging ADHD. And I think that I also am like quite low a lot of the time. That's why I was always seeking like rush, like, you know, intense behavior and high risk things. And like, I love the dopamine rush because it makes me feel alive, because you just feel kind of dead inside with low dopamine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have ADHD to be able to relate in that kind of level, but for my Adderall use, I can definitely relate when I don't have it, and I feel that same way of just that.
Yeah, you feel horrible when you stop taking Adderall if you've been taking it for a while, because you just get massive dopamine crash, and it's like...
Yeah, dopamine and norepi.
Yeah, you learn quickly...
It's just gone.
You learn really quickly how important dopamine is when you abuse or take stimulants in any capacity. Like,
for sure.
Because after a 5-day bender or something, I used to go on a lot of benders. I used to love a good...
I know you've told me about a few
I used to love a good dopamine bender, and like I would get so captured by it because I'd take too much of something from the outset. I'd take an abusive level of Adderall or cocaine or whatever it was. I'd take a huge amount of it, and then I'd be chasing that initial dopamine rush. And for me, it would start off just chasing it with a drug. When that failed, then I'd start chasing it with sex, and then just would escalate the like risk level and taboo level and craziness of the sexual like pursuit, because like I was getting more and more tapped out on dopamine and craving more and more and more, and just kept, you know, would just get in that.
Well, that's like why people get addicted, because they're chasing after that dopamine rush, that initial first dopamine rush, and it's never the same. It's never the same since the first one, but people just seem to think that that's what it's going to be like, and so that's why they keep going back and back and back.
I learned the hard way that now when I choose to go to music festivals or something and I'm going to do like a super high dopaminergic drug like MDMA or something, I've accepted like, okay, this is going to be X amount of number of hours of fun, and then
no more.
Like it's not worth it. Like I learned that chasing it just leads to such brutal after effects. I mean, the bleak, nothing, never-ending grayness that you feel like a couple days after a music festival is crazy. And when it first happened to me, when I was younger, going on benders and stuff, like I didn't know, I felt like it was going to be forever. I was like, this, now I understand. But even understanding that it's going to end doesn't make it any less bleak or hopeless. You still feel like life is bleak and hopeless forever.
Because your neurotransmitters are all fucked.
They're just not there.
No, they're all fried. And then they're just trying to make their way back, but they're all gone.
I have gained such a healthy respect for my neurotransmitters as I've gotten older. I used to disrespect them so brutally and just like be willing to pay the cost, but I'm not willing to pay that tab anymore. The tab
it's high.
It's so high,
especially as we get older.
It's way higher now.
For brain health too. Like the cost of I saw a video online, granted, take it with a grain of salt, it's a video online, but the kid had talked about how like one night of staying up all night and like your dopamine system is just like on a rampant spree, that it takes like 3 weeks for it to basically bounce back from just one night.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
Yeah, like that's crazy though,
because you get like you kind of delude yourself that you're back to normal, because days like whatever it is, 1, 2, and 3, you feel so afterwards. You feel so shitty that when you get that little glimmer,
you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine. That was not that bad.
Yeah, now you get that like rebound effect.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I'm back to normal. But looking with hindsight, it really is about week 3 that you're at full, and to sacrifice 3 weeks of your life,
for sure.
Even if you're only sacrificing, 1 or 2% productivity per day, which you're not. You're sacrificing like 10, 20, 30, 50% productivity, if not 100% for a couple of days.
100%.
You're losing such an enormous amount of your life over the course of time if you just party really hard, of even a few times a month, let alone, if you do it a couple times a year, I think it's probably good for you.
Yeah, I always joke with my friends. I'm like, I think it's time for a bender. After like 6 months of being good, and then you just gotta fuck things up. A little bit of chaos is okay.
It does something innately positive for me if I do it not too hard, if I don't go too crazy.
Yeah, same.
It resets it just resets me. It's like it regrounds me in who I am, what is important in my life, and it lets off all this like kind of pent up energy and steam, where if I don't do it, I start getting kind of fucking weird. I start turning into a weirdo.
We probably get antsy because there's like this built up energy inside that normally, you're a wild spirit, I'm a wild spirit, that when that doesn't have an outlet, especially being in our situations, like in wheelchairs and stuff, and we don't necessarily have the outlets that we used to have, that, a lot of internal energy gets built up, and sometimes the only way to really dissipate it is if you go and you do some chaotic stuff.
It dissipates it, like adventure and stuff does something similar, but
it doesn't neurotransmit.
It doesn't do the full neurotransmitter reset.
Yeah.
I think there's something really special about going out and just going on a little bit of a bender a couple times a year to reset everything, as long as you don't go too hard on the neurotransmitters and do too many stimulants.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it gives you just it puts things into perspective too, because maybe afterwards you don't feel that great, and then you're like, okay, it kind of reminds you of why you're doing the things that you're doing. Whereas before, if you went on multiple benders throughout the month, that you were kind of always feeling like shit, not even realizing you were feeling like shit. And so now when you only do it here every once in a while, it's like, oh, okay, now I kind of remember why I only do this now once in a while. And then you appreciate more when you feel good.
For sure. It does make you appreciate feeling good again.
Yeah. But then, we kind of lose track of that when you do feel really good for extended periods of time, that you don't really realize how good you're feeling until you put yourself in a situation that makes you realize, oh man, I realized what I was doing was really good. And then it's just the cycle repeats.
What's crazy is the only reason, because I started doing drugs heavily when I was probably about 13 years old. And I never was peer pressured once into taking a drug. No one ever peer pressured me at all.
Same.
I was fascinated by it. I loved altering my consciousness. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world ever. I wanted to be a drug addict. I thought it, I liked the idea of the chaos and pushing your body to its limits and not remembering what you did and having, I loved the idea of it.
It's funny.
I loved it. And I pursued it, and I became, I succeeded. It wasn't very hard. I accomplished becoming a drug addict and partying all the time. And the only reason that I took breaks and quit is because I loved it so much that I saw people who didn't take breaks, and I saw how quickly they went downhill, and how their bodies started having to do drugs just to get to baseline. And that's how I was. I started having to just take drugs to be at baseline. I was like, I don't want to be at baseline. I want to be high.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I quit doing drugs was so that I could enjoy doing drugs more again. So
your neurotransmitters could reset, and then you could deplete all of them again.
Yeah, that's exactly, that was my mindset. I was I would quit regularly. The first time I quit was when I was 16. I can't remember. I think I got in a little bit of trouble or something, got drug tested for some reason, and I had to be clean for some reason, and I quit doing everything, and being sober was all of a sudden a high. I was like, whoa, now I'm just high from being sober. This is crazy. Yeah. I feel so much better than when I was taking drugs. And then it got to 6 months or so, and I was able to smoke weed or whatever I did again, and then I was able to enjoy it so much more. And I was like, oh, so part of this equation is the breaks, and so I designed a sober total caning partying seesaw that I went on for years as like an intentional cycle. I wanted to be doing drugs and partying all the time, but it ruined it. It just it messed it up. You couldn't do that. So,
you had it down to a science.
I thought so. It turns out that, you know, going on multi-month benders cyclically is, you still pay quite a
multi-month.
you still pay quite a high tax.
Not the 2 or 3 day bender. We're talking about 2-3 month benders.
I would go on multi-month benders of just like full blown whatever drug of choice, lifestyle of choice, like where I would just party every single day for 3 to 6 months.
That's wild.
It was wild.
I mean, but you have stories and stuff, and you have life experiences and lessons learned that...
I loved it so much. Like, I don't regret that at all. I've had to pay super high costs because of it. Certainly mental, emotional costs. Drugs and alcohol, without a doubt, damage your emotional regulation. Like
for sure.
I had to spend
nervous system regulation in general.
Yeah, and just I spent way more of my life down or depressed or anxious than I would have probably otherwise. But it was, you're borrowing happiness from the future. And at the time, like, I was just willing to take that. I was willing to take on that debt. And it was worth it, like, to me.
Well, the ultimate highs that you were reaching, there's then the ultimate lows on the other end of it, too.
Mm-hmm. And I love substances in the sense of, like, I think it's really cool to ingest something, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm looking at the world differently,
different lens.
As though I'm a different person. Like, I'm looking at it from a completely different lens, seeing connections I never would have seen, appreciating people I wouldn't have appreciated, like, especially drinking. Like, there's so many people that I just wouldn't have interacted with, or I wouldn't have been so curious about their stories. And through drinking and partying, I learned, like, oh, everyone's got a crazy story.
Yeah.
And that if you just shut up and listen, people will, like, it fills other people with such incredible joy to just want to hear their story. Like, it's...
Absolutely. And being curious about them and just what they're doing in their life, and asking the right kinds of questions to spark certain conversations that bring them joy.
Yeah, I selfishly like learning about people. And the only reason, like, I think that people, like, I've had people, and like most people end up liking me, is because I'm just so curious about them. And that's like the only like real asset I have to offer, is just curiosity about what's going on with them.
I think you have more to offer, but
well, I just mean that's like what makes people remember you. Like, it's always shocked me how much it makes people remember you to just ask questions and never tell them anything about yourself. Like, no one that I work with, like, or have worked with in the past, like, almost no one who knows me knows almost anything about me. Like, very few people know much about me at all.
That is a thing. I was listening to a podcast, and they had talked about how, like, when you go to certain networking events and seminars and you're meeting all these people, that they were the ones always asking questions. And usually when they leave the area that they were talking in, the people are always like, oh, I really like that person, but I don't know anything about them. It's crazy because they just ask it's important to ask questions about others and be involved, like, and be curious on other people, because it does make them feel heard and seen. And I think that being heard and seen creates a sense of safety. And I also think humans in general crave that safety.
For sure.
Other people, for sure. I mean, I do. Like, I that's like one of the main things that, like, I look for in friendship and relationships, is like, how safe do I feel with you?
Yeah, no, that's
not physically safe, obviously, but like mentally.
Well,
safe.
I mean, that's important too. Yeah. If you feel physically unsafe, it's definitely not chill.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, it's a huge factor for me as well. People who are curious about you and want to know everything about you, and like they always end up being good friends. Like, especially because I'm mutually curious, and most people don't give a shit. They don't want to know anything about you. The vast majority of people don't.
Actually, I think it's the vast majority that people don't give a fuck.
No, one thing that I loved doing is when I would get because I got different jobs all over the world and in many different places. And so I would start new jobs and I would be like, I wouldn't, one of my favorite things to do was I would work somewhere and just never tell anything about myself. I'd just ask questions for months, like, and then like I would wait until like the first big employee party or something, and like everyone would think like this guy's super straight edge, super like conservative, like, you know.
And you're the guy that's like, hey, I got a bag, you want to go in the bathroom?
Yeah, I would go, and then like, and I loved the like big reveal of people being like, whoa, I didn't know any of this about you or anything. And it was just like always really fun to like just get a new job and just be a different person, like just let's not let anyone know who you were. And then like when you reveal who you actually are, for some reason it brings you people way closer to you than if you're just like unapologetically yourself right away. For some reason, I don't know why, because they feel like they know you already. They think they've pigeonholed you into an idea. And when you completely shatter that idea, it's just really fun. I loved doing that with work specifically.
Yeah, it is fun. And I think it also makes for a what's the word? I can't think of the word that I was trying to go. Brain fart. I think it also essentially makes people see a vulnerable side to you, to where by like not showing that, they don't even think that that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really crazy how so solidly formed someone's idea of who you are can be.
The story.
The story. They've made the story and this whole architecture of your life and who you are and what you've done based on you not telling them anything.
Right.
You just haven't, you know.
And then you're like, hot plot twist.
I know, I love that so much. It's also strategic as like, I gain, you know, trust. I'm working in a place where, you know, I want to be seen as capable of being professional and taking my job seriously. And like, it's strategic. Like, I don't want to just go in and be like, I love, you know, binging on drugs for months at a time. You know, I want that to be like, they've already solidified that I'm good at what I do and they like me. And they're like, oh, now we can totally accept this because it's not, you know, whereas if you're trying to
give the baseline prior to, and that was what you showed, then they would be more skeptical on your on the value you bring to the team. For sure. And about like everyone that I've ever worked for long enough has offered to give me their company, like, or give me some part of their company, or like they want, because I just love working. Like, I love hard work, and like I understand just enough about, so I've always worked for super small business owners. Like, I've never really worked for like corporate anything. I've always kind of been a private contractor or like working for like super small businesses. And like, if you just love working and you are asking tons of questions and want to know everything about their industry and learn everything, and they're teaching you a ton, they just naturally feel as though you're valuable.
They can give you their responsibility. That's what the dream of every business owner is, to pass the torch off and stop having to work so fucking much. Because most business owners who have become successful are like, you know, 10, 15 years into 50 to 100 hour weeks.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, at least all the ones that I've known that have been like really successful have really successful businesses. So they're just eager to pass the torch off to someone.
Yeah, to someone they trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being trustworthy is like a critical component of that, of actually giving a shit. Yeah.
And then also making them feel safe to give you the reins.
One thing that always fascinated me is the us versus them mentality that almost everyone I've worked with has. Like, and I've worked for mostly really small companies, and people still act as though their boss or person is like a corporation, is like a, you know, there's a very detached mentality.
Not a friend.
Well, not even a friend. They just are like, they're here to serve me. Like, they're here to take care. My job is to take care of me. I'm not here to take care of them. Like, whereas I always wanted to be like, I'm here to make you fucking money. Like, I'm here to make you as much money as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I've agreed to this contract of my time's worth this much money to you. And like the hours that you're buying from me, I'm going to give you like 1,000,000% return on. Like, I'm going to make you so much fucking money. It's going to make you like, I liked it. I liked bringing, that.
You like bringing value to the team. That's how I felt when I was bartending.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring the restaurant and the bar as much money as I could. And the way for me to do that was by me showing up the best that I could. The majority of people that I've personally worked with don't think that way. Like, they don't think like, how can I make my boss more money today? Like, that's not, which is wild to me.
They're just
I
like, how can I get away with doing? As a lot of people, not, I wouldn't say the majority, but a lot of people are like, how can I get away with doing the minimum and not get fired?
I know. And that was the same way in hospitality, where it's like they do the absolute minimum and then expect people to tip more than 20%. And if they tip 15%, but you didn't even give them a fucking smile, then you're upset. That's how it would be. And I'm like, all you have to do is just be nice. You just have to smile, ask how they're doing, have conversation, ask questions, and be curious about their life. And then, wow, look, you have a 25-30% tip.
Yeah.
But it was never like that. And then because they're not showing up behind the bar doing what they need to do, then in turn people aren't coming back, and then the restaurant is not making as much money, and then it's like a whole snowball effect.
I know, and I question the story that those people are telling themselves. Like, what's the story you're telling yourself about what a job means? About, like, if you're not going there why aren't you going there to enrich your boss? Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, you don't like them, like you're just doing it because you want to pay your bills. Like, I genuinely want whoever's been gracious enough to hire me and give me a job doing something that I like doing, because I wouldn't do a job that I hated for very long.
I think that's the answer, is that people are doing those jobs even though they don't want to be doing them.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I'm just here because I have to be here to make the money that I need. So I'm going to just give them the bare minimum, and that's that. And then it goes also into like people just giving bare minimum. I always remind myself of this quote, is how you do one thing is how you do all things. And so if they're giving the bare minimum at their job, then I can only imagine the bare minimum that they're giving into their own life.
Mm-hmm. I'm really bad about bare minimuming
yeah.
my job that I have now, like selling health insurance and life insurance.
Yeah, but that doesn't line up morally with your values and stuff. So I think that if that's the thing. See, like, you are giving bare minimum because you fucking hate it.
Yeah, I just don't. It's not congruent with what brings me joy. It's just the monotony of it is the problem. I really enjoyed it in the beginning because it was new and different, and that's been my problem for my whole life. Is I will go all in, do a job super hard, and then like I said, most people I've worked for have offered to give me, to give me controlling interest or a big part of their company if I'll just run it for them. And I've always just been like, nah, I'm ready for something new. I'm going to go start over from scratch, burn it all down, bender, new thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, sometimes you just need a bender to just figure it out.
I just get so bored. It takes about 2 years. I need to go into a new industry doing something I've never done before, and like that 2 years of acquiring skills and everything, and then the last, about 18 months into it, the last 6 months of having that job, I will like really start to struggle to go to it. Every morning will be taxing. And I'll try to stick with it and hold on because I'm making so much progress in the industry. Like, bigger paychecks and everything are on the horizon. But like at some point, my nervous system is just like, no more.
Yeah, I got like that with my lifeguarding job, being a beach lifeguard. At a certain point, I just didn't want to do it anymore, even though I was like so gung-ho about it. But I never got like that with bartending. I like genuinely loved going to work. I mean, granted, some days it was like, oh fuck, but that was mainly because the staff that was working with me was not fun to work with at the time. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed waking up every single day, doing what I had to do, and then going and working all night.
Mm-hmm. Because you're a super social person.
Yeah, I love being around people, I love talking to people, and it was a lot of fun.
And New Smyrna is just badass. There's so many cool people there.
Like, and there's just you can meet all kinds of people. Like I met a person who, I remember this conversation. It was like one of the last people of the night, and he looked at me and he's like, I used to be where you're at. Mind you, he's like hammered, right? And I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, like I used to be behind the bar. And he's like, now I created basically storage units, apartment complexes out of storage units.
Oh, really? Like converted like big storage complexes into apartments?
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Like, what are those big boxes called?
Shipping containers?
Yeah, that's what they are. Not storage units.
Shipping containers. That's completely different.
Yeah, totally different.
I was like, I was like, storage units.
No, my bad.
Fucking everyone's just living in garages? That's sick.
No. He took shipping containers, my bad. And he created apartment complexes with them.
Okay, that's cool.
Super cool. But like hearing stories along the lines of things like that were really interesting to me, and I would ask all kinds of questions.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's my shower dripping. It does that sometimes.
Oh yeah, it is dripping. Oops.
No, it just does that sometimes. I don't.
Well, that was so weird.
Yeah, it's a couple times. Like it woke me. The first time it happened, it woke me up in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Is there a fucking demon in my shower right now? Like, what the fuck is going on?"
I didn't know what it was. Interesting. Well, whatever.
Random. Yeah. Well, anyways, homeownership rocks so much.
Another quote that I had heard that I've actually carried with me for quite some time that definitely plays into the whole storytelling is that life honors perspective. And the way that I interpreted that when I first listened to it or first heard it was that depending on how you're viewing your life and the lens that you choose to see through, essentially is what life will respect and give you.
100%. I couldn't agree. I mean, I couldn't agree with that more. That's been the hardest learned lesson of my entire life, is that you get what you think. Like you just, and I have known that for a long time, but retraining yourself to think differently is the hardest.
So hard.
It's the hardest thing that we do as human beings, is like first just accepting that everything that's happening in your life is in your control is really hard for people, especially paralyzed people who have had a traumatic accident happen to them. And it reframing and putting the story and the perspective in that it's a gift, that it's happening for you, not to you, is like essential ingredient number one to getting through this shit. Like 100%. You just, without that, and you have to, it's
active work every single day.
You have to train, like you train your body to see things differently and to think differently and to respond to stimulus in your environment differently. I've been really working on road rage because that's like where I lose my emotional regulation so many times. And I also am late all the time, so I'm always in a hurry. And so, accepting like, hey, you wouldn't feel this way about this if it wasn't for fucking choices you already made. So number one, like it's
ownership.
Yeah, ownership of it. And then number two, just being like, I'm really going to let other people control my mind, really. Just dictate. So many people allow other people to have full control of their mind. If someone's making you angry, sad, mad, if they're annoying you, if someone at work gets on your nerves, and I mean, you're literally letting them hijack your entire nervous system and control you. Like they own you.
Yeah, 100%. I think also a good reminder is always looking at what you can control And the only thing that you can control is the thing in between your ears, your brain. The only thing you can control is your perception of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that we have any kind of insight into, or that we can change or manipulate to be in our favor, truly.
I think my favorite thing, my favorite thing about myself is seeing humor in almost everything. Like seeing I think it's so, I think it's such a superpower that I just got gifted by my parents. They did not teach me a lot of emotional regulation, but they taught me how,
how to cope with humor.
how to laugh about it. And when you laugh about something, it just diffuses it so much inside you. When something really bad and horrible is happening, you just choose to see how it's funny in some way, or to twist the story around to make it funny. It's just so much better. It's just, life is so much better. Another
story.
Yeah.
Right. If you attach humor to the story, then obviously it'll be way better than sadness and grief attached to it. And
humor, to have humor, you have to not take yourself too seriously, and you have to lower your own self-importance a lot. To have humor, self-deprecating humor, and be able to find humor in bad things happening to you, you have to not. And that's important, because that's yourself isn't serious. Your ego can be very serious and very self-important, because yourself doesn't give a shit what people think about you. It knows exactly, it's created in the image of God and is a perfect, divine, molested bit of light. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that it's that. I know that there's something in there that's unmutable and isn't flawed. And we get wrapped in this ego to see how, I think, this is my theory, we get wrapped in this ego to see how strong that soul is. I think that it teaches the soul to to remember itself. I think the ego is a challenge that we're put through.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. And I also think that ego is a way for us to experience suffering.
I think so too. I think that I really believe that we're eternal beings that live forever in a spiritual realm or world. And that if you did have an infinite lifespan, then you would get really bored not suffering. And I just think that after a certain amount of just love and joy and bliss, you're all right, I'm ready. Let's go suffer. And because the suffering allows you to experience the joy and bliss. Without suffering, the joy and bliss is meaningless. It's nothing. It's
right. Well, there's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, it's you directly experience joy and bliss in contrast with suffering. That's why I am grateful for my spinal cord injury. I've said it in multiple videos and talked to a lot of people about it. But I am, and I'm not always grateful for it. That's for fucking sure. I'm super ungrateful for it a lot of the time. But I am learning to remember to be grateful for it more and more, because I'm I couldn't experience these other the highs without these lows. And the more lows you experience, it just pushes that spectrum farther and farther.
Well, for you, these are now different kinds of highs versus the highs that you were chasing prior to injury.
It's absolutely, it's decreased my need to, or my desire to go get exogenous highs, because I get them naturally now. I have my lows are in such stark contrast to my highs that it's a comparable swing, from where it would be before. It's a bigger swing than it would have been before, just going from normal life to seeking really intense pleasure. It is, which is cool. It's definitely helped me not feel a need for those like extremes as much.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that makes sense in terms of just what you've been through in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think.
Would you say that you have an addictive personality or not really?
That's a good question. I go back and forth. I can't say that, like, I mean, I'm like addicted to like working out and like physical things in that sense, but I don't know if I've ever, I mean, I like to party and I like my fair share of drugs and things like that, but I've never been one to actively like go and need it.
And
but
when the party's over, like, you know when to, like...
I mean, I guess like there was a one point in time, I mean, I am the wild friend where I'm like, yeah, let's keep going. But then I have my friends that are like, nah, like we're not going to go. And then I'm going to be like, all right, fine. Like we're not going to go, you know? But for the most part, I've always been pretty responsible in the sense of not allowing myself to kind of fall off in the deep end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely let it get away from me. Like I would just get so amped up and like going so fast, and like I would just want it to keep going so bad, and everyone else would be like, no, it's over. So I would just go seek other party friends that are willing to keep going.
Yeah, I mean like time, I guess it's time and place for me. I guess, and I never had like the opportunity, or I never gave myself the opportunity to like really like blow everything up because I had so many responsibilities to be like to take care of for like my future, so that I wasn't able to blow things up. Like I was in pharmacy school. I had to show up, I had to be there. And if I wasn't, then I would get fucked basically. So there was like this balance. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there were days in pharmacy school where I was partying till 4:00 in the morning, up at 6 or up at 7 and in class by 8. Really, it was up at like 7:45 in class at 8. But you know, so there was like that time frame where, you know, I made irresponsible choices, but there was always still the sense of responsibility that had to get done for me to be able to be okay with the irresponsible choices that I was making.
I was really, really good about that. I would just go to work and stuff without sleeping. I would just go.
Yeah, like I would show up. No matter what, I would always show up, and that was like the trade-off that I always made. But I never like let it get too far away where like I wasn't showing up for class or anything. Like I always made sure that I was there.
I would rein it the fuck in if I started not showing up.
I never even let myself get to that point. My friends, I mean, I remember I was on a medical trip in Mexico. And I mean, we partied the whole entire time. Granted, we were up at 5 a.m. serving people all day long, and then we would go party with the attendings and a bunch of tequila and stuff, and we'd be out till like 2 a.m. And then everybody's up at 5 a.m. ready to go serve hundreds of people, and we did it for every day for 5 days in a row.
That's awesome. It's super fun when you're partying with coworkers and you all get to go.
Definitely. And then you're all like wake up in the morning, you're all suffering together, and you're like, fuck, last night. And then you're like giving people meds and shit. Like, and like they don't know. And everybody's just like, everybody has like their electrolyte drinks, and we're all just like pushing through. And then we had a Cancun for one day where we got to like party and like hang out and like relax and decompress from like the week of serving. And then as soon as I flew in that night at I think like 8:00, and then the next morning I got up and went to Okeechobee Festival all day and night. And then my friends, I sent Snapchats at like 4 a.m, I think, and I was in class at 8 a.m. for the start of Hell Week in pharmacy school, and everyone's like, weren't you just, I'm like, shh, we're just not going to talk about it, like just don't worry about it, like I'm here, okay? But it was always a matter of just making sure you show up and get like your responsibilities in order. My sister always told me, she's like, you can do whatever you want, but your responsibilities come first. And I said, yes, ma'am, and that just stuck with me my whole entire life. And it still does. Like I still go out and I have fun, but if I have shit I gotta do, then I make sure that stuff gets done.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about it. I definitely missed like at one day of work that haunts me for whatever reason was the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, and I started. So we thought, because we fucked up the time difference, and we thought that the fight started at 4 a.m. in Australia. So we went to the casino, gambled all night, partied all night, took a bunch of MDMA, and then we went to some random bar to watch the fight. And they're like, it's at 4 p.m. tonight. Like, you got your... and we're like, oh, shit. Like, so we...
Your like eyes are all dilated and big, and you're like, what?
Yeah, so we stayed at that bar until like... Or we went back to the casino and stayed out until like 8 a.m. And then went back to our apartment, and then went to the actual the actual Mayweather-Pacquiao fight at 4 p.m. that night without sleeping. I drank like 24 pints of cider and took like way more MDMA and some LSD. And then and we were just like still fully committed. Like, we're going to work tomorrow.
Oh my God.
And then like 6 a.m. came around, and I was just like, we're not going to work, are we? And my buddy was like, no fucking way. It's not happening.
What a night.
We fucked up. Like,
yeah.
And that was like one of the only times where I just called into work and was like, we got too fucked up. Like, we can't come. It's not going to happen.
Like, thanks for being honest.
And it was like full MDMA come down. So I was just beating myself up, full anxiety attack. And like that stuck with me. So I have failed a couple times.
No, well, you learn from them.
I did get fired from a winery job, but I hated it because my buddy was leaving Australia, and I went and partied in Perth with him. It was like 2 hours north of where I was supposed to be. Like, I don't know why I ever thought I was going to get home. Like, it was just like,
you're very optimistic.
Yeah, I was hammered at 4 a.m. and had to work at like 7 or something. And it was like, I'm going to make it, but ended up like accidentally passing out on this couch at this girl's house and woke up at like 4 p.m. It was like,
yeah.
I called, so I didn't. I mean, I know called no showed, but then I called and explained.
Yeah.
And they fired me. That was the only job I've ever been fired from.
Hey, but maybe that happened for a reason, you know?
I was drinking like 14 to 20 espresso shots a day, so it really wasn't like good.
Your poor adrenals.
I know. I couldn't stop myself. I was like a barista, like at this wine thing, and I just had like when you make, if someone wants 3 shots, it makes 2 shots. And so one of them's just waste. So I was just pounding all the waste shots. And I was literally drinking like 20 espresso shots a day. And so...
Were you ever a bartender?
Yeah.
Did you ever just the throwaway shots, or?
Oh, I got hammered the whole time. I got fucking wasted. Yeah. No, but I had to quit bartending for that reason because I loved it. I loved drinking. I was a full-blown alcoholic, and I worked at a bar it was like a brewery, and we closed at 5. And so I only worked from noon to 5. And after we got done with work, we would all just sit. We got a couple free beers, and then we could buy beers if we wanted to. So like at 5 p.m. every day that I worked, like by the time I got home at 7, I was hammered. Like, yeah, I was drinking 13%. Like they were called Raging Bowls, these 13% like dark beers, and yeah, it was just.
I like Dragon's Milk. Have you had Dragon's Milk? It's like you would like it. It's a stout, but it's so good, and it's like 11%. And after one at the nice frosty mug, it's good.
I love beer so much.
I'm good.
Really sad. Like, I'm genuinely sad that beer doesn't sit well with me anymore. Like, I can drink a beer or two, but like it just doesn't sit well with me to just get drunk on beer. Like, I just
same.
It used to not bother me at all. I mean, I genuinely would regularly drink 30 pints of beer a night, like regularly, all the time.
That's insane.
I know. I don't know. I was just a bottomless pit for beer. It didn't even, and I was never irresponsible. I mean, I went a little crazy sometimes, but like nothing weird ever happened when I just drank a bunch of beer and took like an occasional shot. But man, you just get drunk on nothing but hard liquor. Like, because I can't.
It's a different kind of drunk.
Since I have been paralyzed, I haven't been able to tolerate drinking beer. And I just have a huge tolerance to alcohol. Since I was young, I just could drink a lot of booze. And so now
your body just breaks it down very well.
Tequila mostly. Because
that's my drink of choice now.
It has the least side effects for me. It's the funnest drunk, but something just clicks in my brain at some point, and it just goes from like, this is a casual fun thing to like, let's see how much tequila we can drink. Like, I don't know why it happens, but like there's just a tipping point where my brain's like, some was good, more is better, and then
some was good, more is better. I feel that though. I'll say that I think about my future self now more so than I did before injury, mainly because I can't walk it off as well now, the hangover, and so I put a hard boundary down at some point. But sometimes I don't, and sometimes it's like 7 shots in, and I'm like, yeah, let's do some more. I
know.
So I get that. I get it.
I just love it so much. I'm having so much fun while it's happening that like I just want it to keep going. I've never been a bad drunk unless I drink whiskey. I'm a horrible drunk if I drink whiskey. I'm allergic to whiskey. Like I just turn bright red. Like,
that's what vodka does to me. I'll get like a nice little buzz, and then I'll keep drinking vodka, and then I'll like skip over like the drunk part, and I'll just go straight to being sick.
Really?
Yeah, and then I'm all flushed and red and puffy, and it's just because you have with that type of alcohol or an alcohol that you're allergic with, you don't have enough. I think it's a certain enzyme that breaks it down into acetaldehyde, and when you don't have enough of the enzyme that breaks it down, it gets built up, and that's what causes like the redness and
it makes me feel horrible.
And the sickness.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
Being like burning and red. It feels poisonous. Like it feels so bad.
Yeah. It's because it's not breaking down. It's not breaking down fast enough. Yeah. It's funny. I like learned about that already before I was in pharmacy school, because I was always wondering, I'm like, why do I get so bright red when I drink vodka? And then I remember like falling asleep in class one day, and the way that they had it set up was you were in teams, and they would call randomly on certain people to like answer certain questions, and I was falling asleep, and somehow I got my name was called, and the question was about like the breakdown of alcohol, and I wasn't obviously paying any kind of attention, but I just like looked on the screen and I saw what the interaction was, and then based off of just personal experience and what has happened to me in my life, I was able to like spit out a perfectly great answer, and I'm like, whoa. It was so funny how it like transpired, and then I saved myself with that one.
Saved yourself the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Partying's awesome. Like drinking and everything is,
I think, has a time and place. I think
it's fun.
I heard Jordan Peterson talk about it at one point in time. He's like, I think everybody should go and make these bad choices, because these bad choices lead to life lessons, and in order to be able to have a certain perception of the world or a different perception, that you have to kind of go through these things with your friends so that you're able to have like a different outlook.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I think for me, at least for me, I don't think there's any one size fits all prescription for things, but I think for me it's been a net positive. Like it's had some negative outcomes, but overall, I think it's been just tremendously a net positive. Just this amount of fun alone. It's just, how can you ever... Yeah. Like I had so many fun nights with the boys where we just, like, when you're just with the guys, at least if you're from Idaho, like the goal is to just get as drunk as possible and just see what happens. Like just go crazy. And it's so many fun memories that I cherish, and like I wouldn't trade for the world, of just like laughing harder than like laughing so hard that it just hurts. Like you're sore the next day.
Absolutely. It's all about, I've always been somebody that it's all about the story. Again, it's all about the story. Like I've always been one to chase the story, or, if it's going to call for something good to talk about, let's do it.
Oh, that's how I lived my entire life. Yeah. I always like litmus tested ideas and whether or not I should say yes to something based on like
Same.
if I was going to write a book later in life, like would this be a good chapter? And if there was any chance of it being yes, like I would just do it, no matter how scared I was, no matter how much trepidation I have or how weird like it looked like it could be. I mean, that has led me to like really fucked up weird situations as well. Like,
that's funny.
With very strange people.
Very similar in that sense. I remember actually my first boyfriend in high school, when we broke up, I remember him telling me, he's like, you live to tell the story around the campfire. And I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely fucking right, I do.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. And then later, many years later, I get a message saying, I see what you mean by that now. Yeah, it's all about the story. It's all about the story and what you're able to, share in your life that, people either are going to find interesting or they're going to judge you on. And regardless,
it's fun either way.
Yeah, it's fun either way because they're not the ones experiencing it. You are. And then you get to story tell it afterwards. And then that's what brings people in is how you story tell. And, so many great things come from all of the choices that we decide to make in terms of what we want to experience.
I always loved people that had good story, I loved listening to people that had just really good stories and were good storytellers.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to make sure that I at least had that option with my children of being being able to tell them stories that represent each thing you need to learn in life, because if you're living your life for the sake of the story, you're going to learn all the lessons. You're going to get you're going to get so many hard learned lessons, because that's what makes a great story is the character arc through it.
Yeah And then extracting the lesson from the story, which I find also is sometimes difficult in the sense of when you do story tell. I guess also when you're storytelling to a larger crowd where that punchline is, that's been challenging to find in at least partying stories for me.
Yeah, partying stories are kind of one size fits all. You definitely don't have to keep partying to have your share of party stories. You can live one small party era.
Yeah.
And pretty much it encapsulates the gist of it. It's pretty.
Yeah.
That's why I don't party as much anymore. It's not even for health or longevity reasons necessarily. It's because the story is played out. That's why that is
you already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's the reason that I don't party anymore, because when I go out on I party, I already know it's not new and fun and exciting or crazy. It's I know how this plays out. I know the ending of the story. And so it lost its luster, because when it was crazy and you just were, oops. Yeah, before and I also don't I'm not willing to keep pushing the risks, because as time went on, my partying got way, way crazier. I used to, I was, on one of those nights near the Manny Pacquiao fight, I was literally on 7 points of MDMA, 20 plus beers deep, bombing through downtown Sydney in a car, drifting through the center of downtown Sydney, and I ended up over correcting on a drift, and we jumped a curb and popped a tire, and I easily could have fucking wiped out some pedestrians or killed people. It was just getting to the point
or hurt yourself.
And everyone in the car beside my buddy, who's very much like me, was thrilled with what had happened, and we just were game mode, got out, changed the tire, let's get the fuck out of here. Everyone else in the car was fucking furious with me, and then
I can imagine
they made me let him drive, and he just drove twice as crazy. Just went absolutely apeshit, going 110 miles per hour through the center of downtown Sydney. And so it got to a point where, in order for it to be a story, it was getting it was escalating. It was just the limits of what, and I had gotten so lucky for so long that I had I'd never learned a hard lesson about drinking and driving or partying. I'd never really learned any hard lessons, and I had normalized drinking and driving so much and had never had a negative consequence. I got pulled over for DUI 6 times and got off every time. And just blew zeros for no reason. I've never blown even 1 point on a breathalyzer, and I've been breathalyzed 6 times for legal reasons, for no reason. I don't know why.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's super crazy. And so
I should ask Chat Daddy
why that would happen. Yeah. I have. I've asked it, and it doesn't have any reasonable explanation. It said it must be
some kind of enzyme that.
No, it said it must be how you're breathing probably, but I do process through alcohol super quickly. I really used to drink 40 standard drinks in a night,
crazy.
Regularly, all the time, 30 beers and a bunch of shots, and be kind of fine. So I don't. But the point being is I was this behavior is gonna I'm gonna fucking kill someone or do something really horrible, because had gotten I'd gotten away with it so many times that once the inhibition of alcohol comes, I'm like, what's one more time? Like it's nothing bad has happened hundreds and hundreds of times with driving under the influence, which I'm not proud of at all that I did that. But I had started doing it when I was 14, and I never had a negative consequence. I'd been pulled over, so high on oxy, I couldn't even, I was passing out at the wheel, high on oxy, I got pulled over with weed so many times and drugs and big bags of Molly and cocaine, and I'd never gotten in trouble for any of it.
That's crazy.
So I just...
And then it's a little bittersweet that you were driving down a road and somebody happened to pull out, and that's when everything...
Yeah, it took such tremendous risks driving. I mean, used to drive... Because I didn't think that it was possible to die before your time. I thought I always had this belief that you couldn't die until your purpose was fully lived out. So I just knew nothing bad was going to happen. I don't know why I thought that. I didn't think that, when the accident happened, I knew something bad was going to happen. I wasn't surprised at all when it happened. But during other periods of my life, when I was living in
chaos.
Well, just incongruency with I was living out of love and excitement and fun. I just knew somewhere inside me, it's not going to happen. And that's probably not the right way to think, but that's just how I thought at the time.
Yeah.
And so...
Isn't it funny that, our fun memories or the things that we're, excited about the next day aren't necessarily, the healthy things in those eras, but it's more oh, you wouldn't believe the crazy shit that happened last night. Tommy got his finger cut off, and you're super excited about it, and it's kind of this shitty thing that happened, but it's super, it's what made the whole entire night so chaotic and so crazy.
Yeah, it's always the crazy thing.
Yeah, but it's funny how we normalize that and make that the show versus, the healthy things of say we go to a yoga thing or something, and it's healthy and nervous system regulated versus something that's super chaotic and shitty.
Well, it's because life's so fucking boring.
Yeah.
That's, for me, I personally feel modern day life is just so boring, and I wanted to be adventuring and hunting, and if I could have gone out with my fucking tribe members and hunted a badass animal all day and killed it and gutted it and brought it back to camp and then been celebrated at camp, I wouldn't need that. But I needed something. I just craved
the stimulus.
I craved the wildness and the fun and the near death experiences and everything. And I just craved it. I couldn't help it. I told myself so many times I'm never gonna drunk drive again, but it just kept happening until I was just I just can't put myself in a situation where drinking and driving is even an option for me. And I don't think there's very much wrong with people having a couple beers and driving home, but drinking and being drunk and driving is fucking crazy. Even if you're really good at it, which I obviously was good at it because I did it, it doesn't matter. It just takes one tiny mistake.
Oh yeah, one tiny mistake.
It's you've ended someone else's life or done something even I can't imagine. I don't know what I would do if I had paralyzed someone else or something because of I was drinking when I got in my car wreck. Oh. I had drank. I wasn't drunk, but I had drank that day. Because I lost so much blood, my blood alcohol level was pretty high when I got tested, but they just were it's irrelevant to the case or anything. The cops talked to me about it, and there was we'd been out having margaritas before, and they were it's just cut and dry. Someone did this. It wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
I was doing, but if I hadn't been drinking, I never would have been in that situation. So I was doing the thing that I shouldn't be doing when I got paralyzed. That's just one more layer to why it was karmically not that surprising.
Yeah. I didn't know that. But yeah, I guess that makes sense for having the outlook of it being a karmic thing.
Yeah, I had put other people's lives at risk hundreds, if not thousands of times before that. Like, I was objectively a horrible person. Like, it's not even, I was good in some ways, but objectively, like, all things measured, like, I was a bad person before I got paralyzed. Like, I was just bad. I was not, I loved the people that I loved and did, I had a lot of love inside me and expressed a lot of love and did things of kindness and brought laughter to people, but I also did so many horrible things. Like, I was objectively bad. I was a cheater, a liar, a fucking thief when I was a drug addict. Like, I, was massacring animals for a living, all in the name of greed. I did enjoy it. Like, I did enjoy the work itself as well, but like, it wasn't in congruence. I mean, I just did anything that I wanted to forever. Like, damn the risks. I didn't. The story that I was telling myself was it wasn't a risk, which is an insane story to tell yourself. But I just really believed that, like, it was in
true delulu.
It's a complete delusion. I don't even know where the story came from, because it's not how my parents are at all. My parents won't have a drink and drive. They won't have a beer and drive. Like, no way. They were so mad at me all the time because I would show up fucked up and clearly have been driving underage, like young. And they were like, if there was one thing that, of all the things that I've done in my life that like made them truly ashamed, like the drinking and driving was a huge part of it. Like, they did not condone that in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know where the story came from that it was impossible to have anything bad happen or have anything, like, I didn't believe that you were even in control of what was. I just thought that we had destinies, and that until you fulfilled your destiny, only things that were supposed to happen would happen. Like,
I think you also built enough evidence in your archive to show that, like, bad things don't happen.
That was a huge part of it. It's just continually making bad choices and never having any consequences.
And never dealing with the repercussions of those bad choices.
Mm-hmm. If I'd ever gotten a DUI or something, I would have definitely stopped. Like, but I just.
And doesn't it make you wonder if like why didn't you ever get a DUI?
It's crazy. I got pulled over.
Like, to make you stop, maybe like break the bad pattern.
Yeah, I got pulled over having drank like a fifth of, like, me and a buddy split a fifth of Sailor Jerry's of rum, I think, and we're driving back from a call, partying all weekend, had like 60, 70 beer cans in the car, like, because we were camping, so there's just, the whole thing was filled with beer. We were drinking beer all the way down. The whole truck reeked of beer. I got pulled over by a cop, and he was like, "You're drunk," and put me in the back of his car, arrested me, and then blew on a breathalyzer. This is the first time I got away with DUI. Like, blew on a breathalyzer, and he was like, "Holy shit, donut holes, motherfucker." And it was like, "You're free to go." I was like 16, and
wow,
he was just like, "Yeah,
that's crazy.
I can't keep." And like, all my friends were watching me get arrested, and like, they were calling my parents to come get the car and everything. And then the cop just handed me my keys, and I got back in the truck and left, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
That's wild.
Yeah, so I don't know why it would be that way.
I definitely could have gotten a DUI right before I started pharmacy school. It was Country 500, which is like a country festival that they used to do at the Daytona Speedway. And me and some friends had gone, and I had like 2 tall boy beers, and then I think I had 1 shot and 1 mixed drink over the course of like 6 hours. But of course, at nighttime, like, your eyes are all bloodshot red, and it's like a field, so there's dust and everything. And I had one of my best friends with me, and she was hammered, and her eyes were also beet red. And I like looked down at my phone for like a split second, and then I swerved like into like the next lane, and there wasn't anybody on the road, but there was somebody, and it was a cop. And the cop ends up pulling me over, and my best friend next to me is like, is trying to console me, and I'm like, fuck, I'm like, this is so fucking bad. Like, I'm gonna get in trouble, like big time trouble, and I'm about to start pharmacy school. Like, this is horrible. And then she's like, you're gonna be okay, like, don't worry about it, like, all drunk and hammered. And then the cop asks, like, I step out of the car, I do all of the tests, and, you know, I pass all of the tests, and then I'm just, like, sitting on, like, this sidewalk with, like, my head in between my legs. And then he comes over, and he's like, do you have any drugs in the car? And I was like, I did have drugs in the car, but I was like, no, I can't have drugs in the car. Like, I'm a lifeguard. I can't do that. And and then he was like, oh, like, you're a lifeguard? He's like, for who? And I'm like, Volusia County. And and I think because I said that, he, like, let me go because I'm like a service worker. Like,
yeah, lifeguards, nurses, firefighters, they all get a pass.
Yeah. I mean, thank God I was like, I could say that. I mean, I wasn't drunk or anything though, but I mean, I had some drinks like earlier in the night, but I wasn't in any way impaired to drive. But that was my scare, and that was the time where I
want to say, to defend myself as well, that drinking and driving was completely normalized in Idaho when I grew up. Yeah. Like, it was fucking normal. Like, I wasn't like the only one. Everyone I knew drove drunk all the time. Like, I don't think I have a single friend that hasn't gotten I have like a handful of friends out of everyone I know in Idaho that hasn't gotten a DUI at some point, because they got really strict about it. They used to not really care, like, because there's no.
Well, you blow zero, so it doesn't even matter for you.
Yeah, it didn't matter, and so that was the scariest part. Is like, I knew, especially after it happened so many times, like, because I got breathalyzed drunk at a football game. I got breathalyzed multiple times, like in high school at parties and stuff, where I also blew zeros. Crazy. So I knew that it was just a thing that kept happening.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
They must have some kind of enzyme that just breaks it down.
The research that I've done is it's most likely I'm just breathing a certain way into the breathalyzer. Like,
how are you? Really?
I don't know. I just was blowing in it like I thought normal, but it was just like however you're breathing through your nose, you're like cycling the air. Like that's the only explanation that I could come up with. It's very peculiar.
Whoa, what if that's like $1 million thing and you're just like sitting on it?
I don't think I want to be known as the guy that gets people away with driving drunk.
I know. Man, that's wild.
Like, talk about like a really dark business to be in.
I know.
What do you do? Oh, I just help people drive drunk, you know?
Yeah, fuck. Or I don't know. I don't know what it could be used for, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, well, I vowed, like, beyond any shadow of a doubt in my heart, to just never drive severely intoxicated again. It's just not worth it at all.
The $10,000 DUI or somebody's life versus the $100 Uber.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even care about the DUI. I feel like I've earned that and got away with it.
I'm saying for the people out there.
Yeah, I just don't ever want to
potentially put somebody's life at risk, and your own life, and not even, or just really, really ruining somebody's life.
Once the story changed to being like, oh no, I'm consciously deciding to be an asshole right now. Because before the story was like, it's not going to happen. It's just, it's not my destiny. I know that doesn't happen. I know that sounds stupid, but like, I just knew somewhere, but that delusion has faded. And so I just, I don't.
Well, because it happened to you. And not in the sense of a drunk driver had that happening to you, but like I was just talking about this with somebody today, actually, in the sense of not being scared, but there's like this, your nervous system kind of flags you on certain things now because something bad has happened to you.
I actually wanted to talk about that because since being injured, and even just before getting injured, because I used to, like, up until I was 25, like, I thought there was no way I was going to live to be 30. Like, I thought it was, like, highly probable that I died before 30. And I lived my life that way. And after being injured, I started indexing, like, living longer as, like, really important. And, like, this fear snuck in of anything else bad happening to me. And it was really insidious, and I didn't even fully recognize it was there until like the fuck it thing of like deciding to go on this like circumnavigation of the globe in a sailboat has to come with some level of like, because it's a tremendous risk as a paralyzed person to do it. Like there's, it's just putting yourself in situations with like extreme remote situations where access to medical care is going to be questionable, going to be doing dangerous things, spear diving, like surfing, spearfishing, like which increase immensely in danger when you're paralyzed, because like even if you get tangled in a rope or something, like you can't get yourself out, you're just way more vulnerable. And so it came with some level of assessing that risk, and I realized like, whoa, I've allowed myself to like care about how long I live. And I was like, no, that's not me. That's not part of who I am. I'm not scared of death. I'm scared of health span. I care immensely about how long I stay healthy, and that I'm healthy right up to the point that I die. And Kelsey's grandfather dying like had me thinking about this a lot the last couple days, because for anyone that doesn't know, my ex-girlfriend, Kelsey, if you follow me on Instagram or anything, you would have heard me tell the story, but her grandfather, 2 days before Christmas Eve, this is so sad, I didn't tell you this. He's, in his walker, and he can't walk very well. He's 78 years old, and he was out walking because he walked like a mile to the grocery store to buy his family Christmas presents so that he could bring them to him on Christmas. And he was walking across the road. It was a busy road late at night, and it's just the only way that he can get to his apartments that he lives out without like walking incredible distance to a crosswalk. He just has to cross this road. And another 78-year-old man hit him going 50 miles per hour and killed him. And so it had me thinking a lot about like how quickly you can go, and how like I was like, I'm living way differently having let this like life conserving thing sneak in. I was like, I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good. I think that I was too far on one side of the spectrum with thinking that it's all destiny. You can just do whatever you want, take as big a risk as you want, and it will just happen when it's supposed to happen. But I swung the pendulum too far the other way, and was letting fear of injury and fear of death prevent me from living life to the fullest. And it was like it snuck in there in my nervous system. Like I didn't consciously develop a fear of death, but it was there.
And I think it happens because it got imprinted on the day you got injured.
I think so too. I noticed
I had that same realization not long ago. Well, it was like I've always wanted to skydive. I was getting ready to like go skydiving, but like that's not even anything. Like I always was like I'm doing it, and then the day came. And I was trying to plan it all, but like my nervous system was like flagging me, like, whoa. And I'm like, what? This is weird. Why are you flagging me right now? Yeah. And the only thing, like after processing it and understanding, I realized it's because of the imprint because of what has happened.
For sure. I'm very much more scared of pain. Because
or just like the chance of, like, it's so outrageous to think, but like just the chance of like, something happening is all of a sudden now there in my head, when before it wasn't in any kind of way.
Yeah, it wasn't there for me either before. It was literally, it didn't exist. Like when things went wrong, I was like surprised every time.
Yeah.
Like there was some times where I would take big enough risks where like beforehand I would be like, I might die doing this. I might get like really fucked up doing this.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I didn't even think about it. I just was like, this is gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
And I am going back to that. I'm going back to like, I am not letting death be on the menu of things that I fear, because I just don't see any advantage to it. I do think like calculating risks and being smart about things is well worth it. Like I don't want to, but I immensely enjoy things that are tremendous risks, and I just I've become way more risk adverse than I'd like to be.
Yeah.
I just, at least risk adverse to like, death and injury. I just think you gotta live and just eat the consequences. Like if I have to, I'll just pay the consequences. I've paid, I really hope that I don't get like quadriplegic. Like that would be really brutal after having like come to terms, like to make this worse would be really hard, but it's not as hard. Like you choose your hard.
Yeah, 100%.
Not living and doing the things that I enjoy and taking the risks is hard too.
Yeah. Well, it's hard on your psyche.
Skiing is a huge risk as a paralyzed person. Downhill skiing on a sit ski is like, that's the one thing.
It's, I think because you're like kind of seated with your legs straight. I think that's what scares me. I think I would rather do it like on my knees.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking compression of that would own you, but the idea.
But I'm saying like to sit like with your legs straight.
Sitting is very, because the high side, you know what I mean? Like when you're sitting and you're going down a steep hill, down to, like high siding into the air, like you're really vulnerable when you're flying through there. It's not like when you fall skiing or snowboarding because you can roll out of it. Like I could take insanely hard falls and I could roll and flip my way over rocks and around trees and stuff, whereas like when you're sit skiing, like you're in a fixed position.
That's what's scary.
Have you seen Trevor Kennison?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we'll watch some videos at some point. Look up Trevor Kennison if you want to see the craziest sit skier, a paralyzed guy, and he's like backflipping huge booters, jumping off Colbert's Calaire, wherever it is. I think it's at Squaw Mountain, maybe. It's like a massive cliff drop. It's like a 25 to 50 foot, like, depending on how hard you hit it. Like, it's a huge send.
That's wild.
And I saw that, and I was like, never in a sit ski. I would have done it on a snowboard, but, like, no fucking way. Like, I do want to... I mean, I guess I can't say no way forever, but like I would have to ski for like that is like 10 years down the road, and by then I would be mid 40s, and you're not usually. I don't see very many examples of people like pushing the boundaries by the time they're in their mid 40s skiing, like able-bodied or not able-bodied. You get a bit brittle for that sport by that age.
Yeah, I mean, it's really... when you fall, I don't know, it hurts. I just remember it was like snowboarding, and when I would eat shit, it would just fucking hurt.
Yeah.
The impact. It's just a different kind of... It's like when you're skimboarding and like you eat shit on sand. Like that's the equivalent of...
Yeah, snowboarding can hurt.
Yeah.
I love snowboarding. Snowboarding rocks.
I've done it a few times, and it was fun when I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I was like really great at it. Probably because I was like stoned the whole entire time, so I'd be like super paranoid that I would like fall into like they had the slopes and then they have like the trees and stuff. So I would just like zigzag down because I'd be so paranoid that I'd fucking eat shit in the.
Yeah, smoking weed isn't. It's really. I used to get stoned a lot when I first started snowboarding, and it really hindered my progression in the sport. As soon as I stopped smoking and snowboarding, I got way better, way faster. You can have a couple of drinks, like there's a super fine line of like, because you get less inhibition, but you really lose coordination after like max 3 drinks. Anything more than that, you're just sacrificing coordination, where you have more bravery, but less coordination. So you're just eating shit way harder.
Right.
So... But smoking weed definitely doesn't. It's really good for like all mountain snowboarding, where you're just doing like steep lines and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do like park or really pop off, it's not it. Acid's dope. Acid.
I've never done acid, so
Microdosing, acid, and snowboarding is one of the most fun things that I've ever done in my entire life. I mean, it just objectively rocks. Again, a super fine line.
Yeah.
You take a little bit too much and you're messing up really bad.
Right.
I used to take acid, go snowboarding, and then drive the snowcats at the ski mountain I worked at.
Nice.
Just high as fuck on acid, and it was so much fun. Oh my God.
I can imagine.
Just this huge, like, crazy tractor thing just going up and down the mountain. And, like, when it snows a lot and you go down something steep, it can break loose and, like, start avalanching because you're pushing so much snow.
Yeah.
Like with this huge, like a 30-ton vehicle. Shit. And yeah, that's a trip when you looking.
Yeah.
But the guys that I work with, like my very first time ever driving the snowcat, the guy parked and he, like, me and him in the snowcat, and he pulled out a pipe and he's like, "If you can't do this fucking stoned, then you can't do it." And made me get super baked before the first time I ever drove it. So
that's amazing.
It was so terrifying.
I
wasn't smoking weed at the time either, so it was like I was like, dude, I'm gonna have like
it was like
full
your initiation,
panic, like full.
That was like your hazing into. It was like that was your hazing into the crew.
Yeah, we were a mom and pop operation.
Amazing.
Wasn't a lot of oversight.
That's awesome.
And you're out there. I mean, there's no one. You're not endangering anyone. You're, like, literally, it's like the middle of the night. So harmless fun. I mean, you're risking like a $30 million machine for the mountain, but what they don't know can't hurt them.
Yeah, it's true. Well,
it's probably not that much. 30 million is excessive. It's definitely nowhere near 30 million. That's stupid.
Maybe like 300,000.
I think they're like $1 million or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's still a lot.
30 million though. Like, that's insane. What kind of what kind of machine? That would be like a giant 18-story like piece of mining equipment or something.
You never know. Maybe it just has. You never know. Mm-hmm. With today's day and age, you never know.
Yeah, who knows what they cost now?
Yeah.
Huh? You can buy a $30 million car now.
I believe that.
The newest Bugattis, I think, are like 20-something million.
Really? Holy shit.
Yeah, one of their like super small
That's
release
insane.
ones I saw was like 21 million, maybe it wasn't 27, 21 or 27. Either way, it's an insane amount of money to spend on a car.
Outrageous amount of money.
And irrelevant to this podcast. So you're yawning.
Yeah.
Should we call it a night?
This nerve pain is getting me.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Okay, that's why I keep flinching.
I know.
That's why if you see me flinching, it's because my nerve pain is really bad.
Brutal.
So brutal.
Love you guys.
Love you. Thanks for listening.